everyone, it's me again, Esquire from Bloodman Pictures, and welcome back to Snowbound Blood. Last time we have started Volume 2 of Business and Busy Work, and we looked after the goofball of a boss. We already know this. We looked up Repeat Colden, and now we will go to Sirage Feltri, possible one of the possible Repeat's mate in some sort, because they wear each other's colors in some way or another. So yeah. Let's start with Sirage Feltri. Sirage Feltri. The obvious choice, according to your intel. She had a shipment of goods coming in on the very same truck that was carrying the Vivifire's blood. Not only that, but she's a fairly high-ranking middle manager for one of corporate's social media enterprises, Scorp. Information is literally her business. Plus, there's something else, something the allegation algorithms picked up, which places her even more squarely in the suspect zone. Whispers of a murky past. You'd plan to meet her at her office and deal with this quietly, but already earlier today, when you stopped by, the receptionist said that he hadn't seen her since before the wizened. Feltri hadn't turned up to work and hadn't buzzed ahead to explain why. Not so much as a sick note, not answering calls either. He offered to leave a message on your behalf, but you were out the door before he could finish the sentence. Playing hard to get on the day after haste, might as well have handed in a confession note there and then. If the worst comes to the worst, you'll have to organize a search party. At the very least, you need to pick up some kind of trial. What do we have here? City skylight. Pretty standard. Pretty standard. So now you've hit the streets and hit them good and hard, like you've tied the streets up for an interrogation and slapped them around a bit. Tell me where she is, you say. But they are not talking. You cut through one of the parks in the center of the stronghold, marking for your personal garage while you download some more of Feltri's personal details to your overhead. You're walking briskly, the pedestrians and plants, wildlife, and wayfaring strangers blurring by as you concentrate on the task at hand. Your long coat starts to do that thing where it, billows out dramatically behind you and stuff. Not that it would occur to you, of course, but it looks cool as shit, and we're all very impressed. Oh man. Strolling couples part to let you through. Auburn cornfalls scatter, squabbling in the winds at your approach. You take a recreational kick sphere to the head and don't even care. The game is on. You have her Trollodex card up and on the visor, ready to bounce it through the regulatory's internal system and sick some grunts on this fugitive. You have orders aplenty, and boy do you love giving them. But then, as you round a corner, you come to a sudden stop. It takes a moment for you to even realize why, before your eyes refocus, looking at past Feltri's card on the screen. On a park bench, a little ways off, is your suspect. You can't tell if she's awake or asleep, but either way, she's clearly in a wrath state. She's sprawled haphazardly over the seat, face down, arms and legs pointing in random directions, and her business attire in utter disarray. Her hair is a mess of tangled black curls, one shoe is making its absence known, and her briefcase appears to have become lodged in a nearby garbage cylinder. It's a scene of a perfect chaos. You feel your shoulders slump in disappointment. This has to be the shortest game of fur beast and squeak rodent you've ever had in all the long sweeps of your career. And here you were, getting into the swing of things. The very least she could have done is made an effort. But maybe the scene is just a little too perfect, too pristine in its panic, implausible, inventive in its incongruity, just seriously and altogether too batshit. Could it all be part of some elaborate ruse to lull you into a false sense of security? You've definitely seen weirder strategies for avoiding capture. If she's trying to throw you off a loop, it won't work. You don't jump for chump change. You approach with caution. No sudden sounds, moves, or anything else. You are the polar opposite of suddenness in every respect. Your advance is so slow that one of the cornfall from earlier lazily flies down and, with complete lack of abruptness, perches on your left horn. Perhaps she mistook you for some unusually fast-moving foliage. Any glacial attempts to swat the plumbed pest away are futile. Your sluggish wafts are a mere caress to the indifferent animal. That's just how unsunny you're being. Suddenly, a phone rings. Motherfuck! The slumped figure immediately springs to life at the noise, flailing wildly for a few moments, before toppling sideways off the seat with a loud crash. You brace ready for her to make a run for it, but instead she stands bolt upright and starts to contort every which way in a desperate hunt for a mobile. Her hand comes up to her ear, and oh, so that's where her other shoe was. Hello? Hello? She near bellows down her smart casual phone before realizing the mistake. Then she throws her hands up in frustration and the boot over her shoulder. It lands in a tar pond a short distance away. Before she can find the real thing, the ringtone stops, in a manner of which could only be described as spontaneous. Oh, you have just got to be shitting me. She looks all around now, starting to collect her scattered belongings. She picks up a few leaves out of her hair before turning to see her shoe slowly disappear into the black sludge. Fuck. She doesn't seem to be the least bit aware that you're here. You go to give her one of your signature ahems, tried and tested through sweeps of stoic arrivals, as a cough that could announce royalty. Achoo! The plan blows up in your face with a remarkable literality. Your allergies are having none of that shit. It must be thanks to your flighty friend, who took off in all the ruckus. It's not the first time a bird has left you. Go ahead, fly away, you feathered fuck. But just you remember, Cecilia Pora never forgets. Forget the fall, cut the chase. Like you just said, you're literally incapable of forgetting anything. And you already did the chase, if you recall. It's what got you here in the first place. Speaking of recalling, if you haven't already done so, then now would be a good time to recall some salient facts about the suspect. You know, the suspect, the woman who's the best lead you have in this case so far, the one who probably wheeled around in surprise when you honked to high heaven out of nowhere just now. Quickly, she might get away. Recall Sirage Feltri. You score your think pen for anything else you might have on her, something that might give you an advantage. Fortunately, you don't have to dig that too deep. There's another reason this girl is so high on your hit list, besides her direct connection to the scene of the triple murder burglary. Burglary? Note to self, try that one out sometime. Burglary! It's a burglar! I don't know why I made that voice though. Remember several sweeps ago that there was a notorious group of vagabonds who made their business breaking into pre-Renaissance ruins and plundering them of their treasures. Mostly they were after religious artifacts, but quite a large number of gems and the like were also made off with practically worthless in this day and age, though there is still some who put a price on prettiness. In any case, this gang was getting to be quite a problem for corporate, since so many of their interests are also tied up in the antiquarian, but for magnanimous reasons, of course. You'd been hot on their wag stump for a few voices when the trail went cold, real cold, like totally fucking freezing in fact. It was right in the middle of the northern waste when you lost them. From what you managed to piece together afterwards, something happened to the group that caused them to disband. You never found out why, but whatever the reason, the robbery stopped, and that was good enough. Serge ended up on the corporate payroll a short time afterwards, along with her mates, but just some blue guy who you may or may not have talked to already. So he's blue, not purple. That makes more sense. But why, then why is it... It looks purple on my screen. I don't know if it does on your screen. Initiate interrogation immediately. Anyway, that's quite enough of tomfoolery for one investigation. You're ready to get this thing back on track without any more shenanigans. From here on out, it's only business. You're quite certain that nothing else outlandish and stupid will happen. In fact, you'd put money on it. That's just how serious you're being. After moments, no, minutes of searching, the girl you've been hunting down is finally within sight. You're about to blow this case wide open, you can feel it. You look like you need a morning coffee. You make your way over. Sirage Feltri, I presume you know who I am. Blur. She doesn't respond. I need to ask you a few questions regarding an ongoing investigation. Your cooperation is as appreciated as it is mandatory. Burp. Burp. Still nothing. She's staring blankly at you, swaying a bit on her unbalanced feet. Your science won't save you, Feltri. I know of your involvement in this case. You may have given us the slip initially, but now I see the boot is on the other foot. You made a rookie mistake when you decided to get some beauty sleep in a public park. I'm still not sure what kind of tactic that was supposed to be. Frankly, this has been the least engaging pursuit I've ever had to the misfortune of undertaking. I didn't even get to order a driver to chase down a cab or anything. You have let us all down, Feltri, so start talking. Note, not a peep. Her eyes are almost pointing in opposite directions from how unfocused she is right now. The swaying is getting more apparent. Her mouth is open a little, but she's making no effort to talk at all. She's drooling a bit? Zed. Yeah, she's just asleep at this point. How did she manage to do that in the brief few seconds before you made your way over? It's also kind of amazing how she's managing to stay upright like that. Truth be told, it doesn't last much longer though. You catch her as she topples over, all semblance of grace lost in the woozy black ichor of sleep, like a solitary shoe sinking slowly beneath the waves. You have got to start working on your metaphors. What sort of introspective protagonist are you even supposed to be without a good grasp of this kind of thing? Hardly one worth her seasoning minerals. Snort. The suspect is now coiled in your arms, snoring gently. Despite losing her grip on consciousness, she's still managing to hold on tightly to her soda cup somehow. She turns her face into your chest a bit and begins drooling all over your label. Just full on rubbing that stuff in, like she's giving your coat a spit and polish with extra spit. This is just completely unacceptable. This coat was a gift from someone a long time ago. It's irreplaceable. And what's worse, dry clean only. You still need to question her, and there's no way she's coming back to your office in this state. There's only one thing for it. Her place it is. In one motion you grab her by the waist, lift her up and sling her over the one shoulder. You hook up her briefcase with the end of her Proserpina's scabbard and swing that over the other. Then you start walking. The receptionist wasn't at all surprised to see you lug his superior in through the front entrance. He just handed you a spare key and waved you upstairs, almost bored. That was about half an hour ago. Now, since then, you've been waiting in her office for her to wake up. You took the chance to get a good look at the place while she dozed. There's a lot of stuff here. A good amount of it is standard corporate office fare, but there's still lots of personality about the room. She's got an old pre-Renaissance style television in here, along with an enormous stack of old movies. Most of the films are thrillers with a good deal of horror splattered here and there. A pile of notes balanced precariously on top as a list of star ratings and some scribbled bits of analysis. There we go. There's also a remarkable amount of gems scattered about, along with several of those little eyeglasses people use to look at them. You have a feeling there is a pun to be made here, somehow. Looping back around to look at the other side, you notice a few scale replicas of ancient Reptonian architecture. Nobody really knows what the original buildings were intended for. Each one is meticulously meticulously painted and constituted of hundreds of small pieces, no doubt about it. These pyramid schema are surely works of dedication and care. Ugh. Ow! Sounds like she's awake. Without really paying you any mind, she slowly starts going through some of the files on her desk, wincing with every movement. No rest for the wicked, you guess. Her arms and hands are moving almost automatically, reaching for pens and papers without looking. She looks very tired, despite having just had two naps back to back. She sighs and looks over at you. "And I help you, Regulator Iopora?" Oh, that's a... "Can I help you, Regulator Iopora? Or are you and my second best chair just getting to know each other?" Oh, so it looks like she did notice you after all. That's weird. Despite the greeting, she keeps her nose buried in what she's doing. At least introductions won't be necessary. She's already right where you need her. No need to play games anymore. I'll be brief, Feltri. You are currently the most credible suspect in an incident which has shaken the corporation to its foundations. 3 employees have been killed and an irreplaceable item is missing. Something which in the wrong hands could spell disaster for this entire planet. You have a direct connection to the incident as well as the position and potential to have leaked valuable information to anyone wishing to carry it out. Okay. Well, I don't really have the energy right now to process the fact that I'm apparently a murder suspect or whatever. Or to make a big stink about denying it with which would only make my head hurt worse. So let's just assume I already did that in like a really passionate and overblown but still decidedly innocent fashion and carry on like 2 people who know how to be professional. Regarding the incident. Ow. I already heard about it. Don't know anything specific, of course, since they don't really spill that much that stuff this far down the chain of command. I know enough to be sure that it has nothing to do with me, at least. But if you're certain you need to talk to me about it anyway, then we might as well get it over with. Sirage's shipment Weissened whereabouts missing this morning. Let's start from the top to the bottom. I wouldn't be sure you have nothing to do with this incident, Feltri. You were expecting a shipment, one that was due to arrive on the same convoy that ended up in the northern west with 3 personal dead. One which had been specifically rescheduled in order to avoid detection by parties with ulterior motives. That's about as direct as connection as it gets. Wait, you think I knew about the convoy? Listen, all I did was order some new sparkly shit on the internet and pay for the shipping. An order which, incidentally, has no inkling of arriving anytime soon. I don't have access to any kind of that kind of information, and even if I did, I had absolutely not a fucking clue about whatever important stuff you higher ups were smuggling around on it. You telling me that is the first I've heard of it. So good job keeping that a secret, Chief Regulator. She says that like an insult. You suppose for certain kinds of people it might as well be one. And while we're at it, if this thing is really so hells of dangerous, then what in all mother's name were you people thinking transporting it through a corporate convoy? Those things are like kinds of unreliable. Just about the worst way you could think of to try and sneak something valuable around. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Okay. Weist whereabouts. Let's establish alibi then. Let's establish isn't it an alibi then? Huh. If you even have one. How do we know that you couldn't have carried this out yourself? I don't have any record of your location since you clocked out at the end of last Wise. What's to say about that you didn't take a little trip to the northern wastes for a few days? I mean, you understand that the words that you're saying right now are actually ridiculous, right? First of all, how could anyone take a trip to the wastes just like that on a whim? It didn't stop you, you think to yourself. But then again, if you really suspected her of doing the same, it would require you to think her as competent as you. You don't know what you'd go that far. I mean, yeah, sure, it'd be one thing if you had an organized group or something, but that place is dangerous. Ow. You wouldn't catch me there again in a million sweeps. Anyway, about the Weisend. I was just spending some quality time with a friend. An old bibbing buddy from way back. This lady's barely in her teens, sweeps-wise, right? Is there even enough of her life for any of it to constitute a way back when? Or for that matter, for any of her imbibing friends to be considered old? Just wait until she hits her 20s, then she'll understand. We were just two good pals hanging out watching dumb cartoons, ingesting liquids of varying toxicities. You know, nothing fancy. I remember it must have been the same time as it all went down because I caught a call through from the freight tracking people saying my delivery had been postponed indefinitely. And then right after that I had the hex breathing down my neck about a data leak through Scorp or some BS like that. West we send in sweeps. Your regulatory senses twinge for a moment. Some of your younger corporate employees have some interesting vernacular for their superiors. The hex refers to certain jade blood auxiliaries. It's supposed to be a pun on her name, and something else which you don't understand. You haven't managed to find out what they call you when your back is turned, though. You mentioned a friend. I presume you're confident that they could reasonably corroborate your story. Yeah, he's the technical for the corporation, so you'll probably be hitting him up later anyway. Although don't actually hit him or I'll kill you. Your sword and hand twitches. Did she seriously just threaten her chief regulator during an interrogation? Breathtaking insubordination. The temerity of this fucker knows no bounds. But her gaze softens and she flashes you a tight smile. Just kidding. Missing this morning. You've got some explaining to do, Feltri. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Absent from the office on such a crucial day as this, a day that's still stained in corporate blood, slowly defrosting though it may be. If you weren't already directly connected to the scene of the incident, I doubt your credibility could come under any harshest scrutiny. What in Caperia's name were you doing? Sleeping during corporate hours? There could be a no worse transgression if you weren't a triple burglary suspect, that is. There we go. There we got the burglary. Incidentally, I am trying out that word as a part of the corporation's new efficiency drive. Already the contraction has saved a non-zero amount of time today. Was it enough to offset the time you just wasted explaining it to me? Or worth the headache it caused? Didn't think so. Look, I just got a bit of lost on the way to work today is all. Maybe I just overdid it a little bit over the weekend. Let things get to me a bit too much and ended up doing something stupid. Again. Fuck, I have so much work to do. And enough files of my own stamped out to be dealing with you big wigs. She takes a big swig of the boiled soda on her desk as she says this. At least you presume it's soda, a fact which comes easily enough from the evidence at hand, namely that it's in a soda cup. You know, one of those things that the removable plastic lids and the little sleeves they put around them to stop the hot liquid from scalding you or whatever. Time was getting second-degree burns from the pre-work pop was considered best practice for a corporate hand. None of this soft-skinned avoidance of bodily warmth and blisters. How things have changed. While you've been talking, she's continued diligently working through the amount of paperwork strewn about. Like she's used to long hours of blizzing through this stuff, mindless of any distractions. All the while she's been taking sips from the soda cup that somehow made it through all the mayhem earlier intact and unspilled. This woman knows how to hold onto a drink, that's for sure. This interrogation is not nearly as insightful as you were hoping. Certainly not for someone the allegation algorithms had down as a dead cert. You never did like having a computer tell you what to think. She's definitely hiding something. That much is clear. If this were a different kind of sleuthing game, perhaps there would be a potent visual metaphor here that you could grapple with. Like maybe some giant chains and padlocks or something else to symbolize the fact that yes, this is a character with secrets to keep. That would have been nice. But no, you've just got your suspicions, as usual. Well, that's not quite right. You have something else on her, after all. Maybe it's about time you used it. Rogue recollections. Alright, Feltri. I'll play fair as I always do. There's another reason I'm sitting here talking to you today. Another implication that places you close to the heart of this incident. Another blight on your business credentials. And something tells me that it's the reason why you're more familiar with the wastes than you might care to admit, let alone the corporate logistic detail. The movement of her pen slows just a bit, Through weary eyes, she's paying you more attention now than ever before, while still affecting an air of disinterest, trying to hide in plain sight. A few sweeps ago, I was tasked with breaking up a ring of artifact smugglers, people who couldn't let the past lie, so to speak. They were giving our historians quite the headache. I'm sure you can sympathize. There was no telling whether an archaeological site would still be intact from one vice to the next. Many and varied were the particulars of their pilfering: historical artwork, ancient technology, gems. She stopped writing completely now. You've made your move, now time to press the advantage. It pains me to admit, but that was one case I never managed to take to the end game. Fortunately, the result was still the same. The group disbanded and hasn't made an appearance since. Fortunately for them, I mean. It was around the same time that you joined us here at the corporation, if I recall correctly. You always recall correctly. Now, Sirage Feltri, the game is up. Start talking. She's burning holes into the floor with her gaze. Or no, wait. Those might actually be real scorch marks down there from some kind of chemical spill. Your mistake. Feltri, maybe I haven't made your position here clear. I am the last chance that you have in this situation. Either you explain yourself to me, as clear as the crystals which you have haphazardly strewn around your office, or you are done here. Done in this company, and done in this stronghold. What I've seen here today would be enough to have you thrown out for contempt of corporate alone. Talk now. You don't like to raise your voice. Usually you've settled for just your sword. Sirage calls in words a bit at the sound defensively, avoiding your eyes. She looks pretty shaken at this point. Yeah. That was us. Nothing much I can really say about it other than that. I left that life behind. I left it buried in the snow and sand. It was getting too much. I didn't see much of a future in rummaging through shit from the past, funnily enough. At some point I just turned to the guys and said to him, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped. The worst part was that it was fun, you know? Going where we pleased and taking what we liked because nobody would miss it, and at the end of the day, or so we thought at least, I was good at it. Where have you heard that one before? But yeah. Add to that the fact that I had people I needed to look after and provided a better life for. I was just the obvious choice once I stopped for 2 seconds and thought about it. So we ended up at corporate together. Spite and me. My goodness. She clears her throat to hide the fact that voice is cracking out a bit. Just a bit. And I worked hard. Some skills that come in handy being a teenage delinquent transfer pretty well to being a business person, as it turns out. So now this is what I'm good at, I guess. But that doesn't make it easy. If anything, it's the opposite. I'm good at it, and so people expect good things from me all the fucking time. Ow. and I'm constantly sifting through everything, trying to make sense of it all for others and for myself. Always in the middle of things. Always trying to live up to my others' expectations. To my and others' expectations. And the better I get, the more I find out how actually and completely fucked we all here are. How little I'm really capable of doing, even if the position that I managed to build up to. How incompetent I really am, even if everyone around me is looking to me to sort the shit out for them. Sometimes I just feel tired. She slumps down a little ways in her chair. For someone as perceptive as you, sometimes you struggle a lot with understanding others' expressions. But you don't have to try hard with her face right now. She's utterly exhausted, whether it's from your questioning or the effort of recalling something that clearly takes a lot of her out of her. You forget that it's not as easy for some people. While she was talking, despite all the nonsense it took to get here, you couldn't help but think how familiar her story sounded. How many times have you heard it's like in your time here? You make a judgment call. She's not the one you're looking for. At this point, you don't really care that your case file says. This isn't someone you could be brutalizing just to get at the truth. Sometimes the truth just isn't that important. Okay? And if we're talking about checkered pasts, then you're nobody to talk. There are things in your lifetime that make her story sound like a walk in the park. Or maybe just a nap on the bench. Are you really gonna dig up her past when she walked away from doing the same all those sweeps ago? So what? Maybe she has a few skeletons in her closet. At least they aren't literal. Probably. You know what? We're not going to ask. She's already back to her paperwork. Anyway, normally I only bring out that story if people complete a very specific set of requirements. I don't trust easy regulator, and I sure don't want you to think I trust you in that way, just cause you forced it out of me when I was feeling down. It feels kinda cheap to just throw it out there like that, even if I guess that is the point of an interrogation. I had a rule back in the day when I organized those chumps. If ever anyone wanted something out of me with no strings attached, I'd give them an offer. A challenge. You perk up a bit at this. Your skills haven't really been tested all that much today, truth be told, and you love a challenge. Curiosity gets the better of you. And what was that? She smirks, almost wistfully. Doubt a soft stomach strongholder like yourself could handle it. But for all time's sake, I guess I can let you in on it. Did she say stomach? She stops writing and then begins to pull a huge assortment of items out of her jacket pockets and off her desk. Snacks, sweets, some ticket stubs, stationery. You watch with mounting horror as one by one she tosses them all into the now empty soda cup she's holding, using one of those shitty cardboard stirrers to mash the gruesome slurry together. This goes on for a full minute at least. At one point she retrieves a near full bottle of black ink from All Mother knows where and pours the whole thing in it. The stinging scent that hits your nostrils tells you that it wasn't just ink in that bottle either. Maybe you're getting too old for this, Whatever happened to drowning your office woes in the honest goodness liquor that, like a troll with a normal, healthy work-life dysfunctions? She finishes mixing her cursed cocktail and slams it down on the desk. The crazy gelatinous ooze wobbles dangerously inside the cup, threatening to spill over into the desk and probably melt right through. But not through the plastic cup though. They recently started making them out of recycled zip ties, the most durable stuff in the known universe. Okay, here's how it worked. Anyone in our group could ask me a question, no matter how out there, and I'd give them a straight answer. All they had to do in return was put their money in where their mouth is. Or I guess with their mouth where their mouth is, actually. They had to drink one of my special brews. This is just insanity. Why would anyone degrade themselves to that extent just to get some paltry bits of information? You'd have some pretty stern words to say to any such individuals, that's for sure. They must have all been out of their own damn think tanks. Or maybe just very dedicated. Perhaps this is more a test of respect than anything. A way for both parties to demonstrate that they take each other seriously. Sirage leans forward for a bit, rummaging behind her desk for something. She pulls out a bottle of bright blue liquid that looks suspiciously like a cleaning fluid, along with a glass. You catch a glimpse of the label on the container. Cyanide, the hard surface surfactant of choice. Anyway, you can take it or leave it, Chief. She measures out a tumbler full of the fluorescent blue stuff and launches it back into her chair. I honestly don't care at this point. You look down at the cup in front of you. You could just walk out of here right now. Your job is done. You don't really know why you've hung around here this long already. You don't have to go through with this. But then again, what more could one more bit of ridiculousness hurt after the nonsense you've got through today? Maybe a little recreational awfulness could do you some good. It's not like it hasn't worked before. You gaze into the murky depths of the malodorous monstrosity. It seems to gaze back. A loud gargling noise comes from somewhere in Feltri's direction. Ugh. This shit tastes fucking awful. She pours herself another. Well, I guess this is the end then of this route. Oh! I got new items here on my desk. That's interesting. Like, see, I have the... Oh, wait, can you see it actually? Whoops. There, up here, right above my head, right there, right there. There's a picture of them too. Huh, that's interesting. And of course the paper on the bottom with her credentials on it here. Ah, so this is the end of part 2 of Snowbound Blood from Vast Error. So then, I hope that you guys enjoyed it this far. If you did, then please leave a like and check out the links in the description below. I wish you all a very fun time. I sincerely love all of you guys, and we'll see each other in the next video and stream. Cheerio!